I thank you all for joining our monthly building electrification webinar. This actually is our 4th year, so I've done this quite a few times. And we've covered a very broad range of topics. And tonight, we're going to hear 5 more topics, 5 speakers tonight. So I started recording, and so in a couple of days, I'll mail the recording and links to recording slides and chat to all registrants. Chat is a very good spot for recording your questions tonight while you think of them. So we're going to be charging ahead here. I think we probably still have participants joining us, but we have a pretty busy night. Our first and featured speaker is Gina from Solar Landscape. Solar Landscape is completing over 50 community solar arrays throughout New Jersey. They yield subscribers typically 20% or more on their electric bills. And you too can lower your electric bill while switching to renewable electricity. And so we've given Gina 30 minutes to cover her talk and time for questions. So I'd like to turn the floor over to Gina.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to be sharing my screen. Let me know if you're able to see that.
Yes, we are.
Okay. All right. So I am the Director of Affordable Housing at Solar Landscape. So I usually help nonprofits that have affordable housing enroll into the program, but I also love letting people know about the program and how they can enroll into it and the benefits of it. So we're going to be discussing who we are as a company, Solar Landscape, the community solar program, the updates that have happened in the past 2 years to the program, and community solar partnership, like how to enroll into the program. And then at the end, we'll have the Q&A portion. So who we were founded in 2012. Although this program did start in 2018, we started more as a commercial solar company, but instead we actually started to enter into the community solar field as soon as it opened around 2018. And we are the leading community solar developer within the state as well as the nation, serving the largest low to moderate income portfolio in the country. Here on the first little blurb, we have our community solar real estate partners, a few that you might recognize like Public Storage, Prologis. These are just the actual real estate entities that we build our projects on. In the middle is just a few of our nonprofit partners where we partner to educate the community. And then municipal partnerships, because with every single project that is awarded, we have to receive a letter from the mayor letting us know that we can actually build the project in their township, a letter of support. And also a lot of these municipalities will also provide like a mailer to the low to moderate income communities, like their census blocked areas. And we would send out a letter township wide letting them know about this program from the mayor. So if you want to find more information about this program, it is a state program. You could go onto the Board of Public Utilities website, and on there would give you all the information of all the developers that are within this program and the rules and regulations for it. So here is a little map on all of our projects that we have been awarded and are currently constructing right now in the little stars. So we have a little bit over than 50 projects, but we on the left is all of the municipalities that our projects are located in. So even though we have 250 projects under construction and or completed, we don't have 250 municipalities where they're located in, because a lot of the projects we have multiple within like Monroe or Chittenden Falls. So every single one of these municipalities, if you live in any of these, your mayor supported our projects in your community. Okay, so this is how the community solar program works. First, we apply to the Board of Public Utilities for a project. Once it's approved by the Board of Public Utilities, we build it on top of a real estate commercial warehouse or public storage. And we feed that electricity directly to the local utility grid. So we're not putting any solar on your roof or any big business. It's only specifically the project that we applied to the BPU with. Once the energy is fed into the local utility grid, it is then seen on your bill when you enroll into the program as a form of a credit. And that's a discounted credit, which varies depending on the utility and the project that you're placed on when you enroll. But of this program, 51% of the energy that's produced has to go to low to moderate income subscribers. The remaining 49% can go to any household income. So there's no barrier to entry in terms of an income limit, but we do prioritize and cap 51% of the project to make sure that does go to the most needy in the communities. So here are a few benefits of the community solar program. One, like I mentioned before, we're building these on commercial warehouses. So there's no solar on your roof. You don't have to worry about paying for your own solar system and maintaining it. There are no hidden costs. The enrollment, like I mentioned before, it's not at a kilowatt hour that you're paying your energy for, but instead a guaranteed discount for any community solar credit we're able to provide or offset onto your bill. Access for all. Since there's no solar on your roof, since there's no cost to be a part of this program, anyone can enroll, and specifically low to moderate income people will benefit the most from it. But whether you're a homeowner, a renter, live in a high rise, or any other form of community, if you pay an electricity bill, you're able to enroll into this program. So there's no barrier to entry. It moves when you move. So if you are moving within the same utility territory, you just let us know before you move that you're going to get a new account number. We're able to pause your current enrollment and allocate you once you get onto your new into your new home with your new account number. And you don't have to worry about be put into a wait list because our projects do fill up fairly quickly. Now, if you moved outside of the utility territory, we prioritize your account so that if you're going to be placed on another project, we make sure that you're basically one of the first in lines once the spot opens up to be placed on that project. Community engagement. This program was really created so that the community can benefit the most from it. So we like to really give back to the community and build these community partnerships to just further educate people and as well as give back to local organizations. So the updates to the program, since we were last here and speaking about the community solar program, there's been a few updates. In 2023, in August of 2023, the program became a permanent community solar energy program. In the past, it was a pilot program, but that introduced two new things: utility consolidated billing and utility-wide community solar projects. So in January 2025, everyone who was enrolled into the program previously started to experience consolidated billing, as well as moving forward anyone after January 2025 will also be in consolidated billing. What that means is there's no longer a dual bill system where you potentially would see a lag in your credits from your, let's say, PSE&G bill, and then your community solar bill showing you the credits at the discount. So there's no delay in credits, no dual billing, and moving forward, it's just going to be directly on your PSE&G bill. You can pay your bill the way you normally pay for your bill, and you just see the community solar credit reducing the amount that you owe every single month. As I mentioned before, another update was that it's utility-wide. So before, wherever we build the project in that municipality, only the surrounding municipalities were able to enroll into the program, and that municipality as well. So it was really limiting to a lot of people who were not living in those municipalities. They wouldn't be able to enroll into the program, and we're just waiting for a few years until more projects opened up. But now a project that's built, let's say the tip of Bergen County in the PSE&G territory, can have someone all the way in Mercer County enroll into that same project as long as there's space still available. So this opens up so that anyone can enroll into the program if there's space available and start receiving savings. The discounts in JCP&L vary between 15 to 26%. Atlantic City Electric is 15 to 21%. And PSE&G, it's 21 to 31%. Although we did have some projects at 36%, but those have been maxed out. So just wanted to let you know. So how would you be able to enroll into the program? It only takes 3 to 5 minutes to enroll, really more like 3 if you have good internet. But first you'd go onto the website, solarlandscape.com. You'd put in your zip code. You'd put in your invite code, which If you're hearing us today, we would love if you can use SLNJSC. This is an invite code that's specific to Sierra Club so that we can prioritize your enrollment because we are doing this in a form of collaboration with the organization. You put in your contact information, your utility account number, and then there's going to be an area where it's talking about your income level. It's self-attestation. So if you qualify within a table chart with your income to be below a certain amount, depending on your household size, you'd hit yes, or if you're part of any energy assistance programs, you're also able to put yes, you qualify as low to moderate income. If not, you can hit no and your enrollment can still go through. Again, we just prioritize those who are low to moderate income. After that, you just sign the agreement that you want to be a part of the program and your enrollment is complete. You would be given an email notification that your enrollment was complete and you're going to start experiencing savings when your project turns on because again, our projects have filled up. So you're going to be on a potentially 3 to 5 month wait or longer in certain utilities where we already filled. Like at JCP&L, we're filled this year. So if anyone is in the JCP&L territory, they would be experiencing enrollment on a project that's set to turn on in the first quarter of 2026. But in PSENG, we still have a lot of space, and as well in Atlantic City Electric. And that is it. Do we have any questions?
There are a couple of questions in the chat. I'll go ahead and ask those, and then if anyone else has a question for Gina, either raise your hand or put your question in the chat. So Howard is asking, can these community solar installations be installed in brownfield sites?
Yes, it can. We specialize on commercial warehouse rooftops, but they can be installed in brownfields. One thing that is certain is that no community solar project is ever on green space. So that space is reserved. And if you see any green space, giant solar fields, that's typically privately owned. It's not from the community solar program.
Okay, thank you. We have another question from Edward in the chat. Is Solar Landscape able to readily connect to the grid? Issues with PJM, are they slowing the process?
So interconnection is a very complicated process. So that's a good question. Every single project that gets approved by the Board of Public Utility also has a criteria to meet if they have a high chance of interconnectivity. So we do our background before having these projects applied to the BPU to make sure that it's more likely to get interconnected. But that is the main reason why we have larger delays in our projects from turning on. So it does delay things, but we have managed to set a really good record of turning on our projects on an annual basis compared to other community solar developers. So it does have a little bit of a complication.
Okay, I'll take one more in the chat before I go to the people with their hands up. Tracy says, I have solar panels, but they are old and starting to fail. Is this program useful to me?
So some utilities kind of decline households that already have solar panels on it. But if you're in JCP&L, we've noticed that if you enroll to the program, will almost always allow you to enroll, especially if your own solar system isn't able to offset the majority of your energy usage. There is a minimum of, I believe, 2,000 annual kilowatt hours that you have to produce to the grid in order for you to be enrolled into the program. But it is dependent on the utility and they might deny your enrollment. But since there's no credit checks, there's no penalties in getting on whatsoever, I would suggest to just enroll and see if you're able to get on, because it would be able to benefit you, offset any energy that you are getting from the grid.
Okay, thank you. A lot
Is
of
there any
people have
penalty
had-
if you do that and you get,
No penalty.
so even if you get disqualified, you don't lose anything?
Nope.
So go ahead. The answer then to Tracy is go ahead and do it.
Yep.
or go ahead and try at least.
Oh,
Go ahead
yeah.
and try. Yep.
Yeah, I've had that question from a lot of people, so uh, that's a good answer. So Marty, do you want to ask your question?
Sure. Hi, Gina. I just sent you a private message as well, but I had that same question. There are a few people in our community who have solar panels, and they're not generating sufficient energy to cover their usage. So there would still be some benefit, it sounds like, if they go ahead and apply for the program. And the other question I had was follows on a question that was asked earlier for the PSE&G sites. Is it going to be several months till people can get on to the program at a PSE&G site, or is that something that can be done within a month or two?
So even when your project turns on, it does take 2 months or so to start receiving credits on your bill directly. I would say enroll sooner rather than later, just because even if you're set to get allocation a little bit later in the year, as time goes by, that deadline just going to move further and further along the year. So there's limited space in the program. But for PSE&G specifically, we have projects that are turning on late summer and early fall that have not been fully subscribed to. So those would be the projects that you would be assigned to. And then when you get an email notification letting you know that your project is turning on, you can expect credits within 2 months. And then
Okay.
from then on, I didn't mention this in the presentation, but you receive the guaranteed discount for 20 years. So that discount does not change no matter what administration is in. That project is grandfathered in, and you're able to receive that discount.
So I understand that the rates are going to go up in June. They've already been approved, so it'd be good to get onto that discount as soon as possible, basically, right?
That's correct. And
Okay. Thank
yeah, and also because of the federal, since this program is financed through, like our projects are financed with federal and state tax incentives, it's possible that future projects discounts will be lower. And so I would just suggest to enroll now to our projects that are at a higher discount. That's all.
Great. Thank you, Gina. Appreciate it.
Let me just follow up on that question a minute. So if the rates go up, you get the same discount off the higher rate. Is
That's
that
right.
correct?
Yeah.
It doesn't just stay.
Yeah, the percentage off from the project that you get on remains the same, but that's a discount off of whatever the market rate is. So if PSE&G's rates are going up or down, we always match that and you'll get a guaranteed discount on top of it. But it'll always be roughly in PSE&G 31% less than PSE&G's market rate.
Okay, thank you. Jeffrey, let's have your question.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. So basically, if I understand this correctly, this is a complete no-brainer and that anybody can sign up for this. They just sign the form and their electric rates go down. Is that correct?
Yeah, any energy we're able to supply to your account would go
Mhm.
down, guaranteed
Mhm.
at no additional cost or and no fees to cancel whatsoever if you had to for whatever reason.
Okay, and the program, it sounds like, at least at this point, to offer the current discounts is partially dependent on grants. If there were no grants, are the economics such that you could still offer a small discount or not necessarily?
Probably not necessarily. It's tax incentive, so there always will be tax incentive, especially within New Jersey. So the discounts would be a little bit lower if we didn't get too much federal tax incentives, but the program is here to stay, so it will continue to grow, just potentially lower discounts. That's just what I've been told to say.
Mhm. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to mention is, are you aware that Third Act has as one of its major foci for this current year something they're calling Sunday, which is basically to promote solar power? Are you talking to them at all? Because you definitely should be.
No, but I'm really interested in that, so I'll definitely look into that after this.
Okay, I'll put I'll send you my email privately and
Okay.
send me an email and I can get you in touch with the Third Act Central because that's their major focus for September. I believe it's the 20th and 21st to push nationwide.
Okay, great. Yeah, I would appreciate that.
Sure.
Okay, great, thank you. This is just a comment. I think it was Albert. Albert says, "This is a great program. Thanks for doing this." Let's go on to Gail's question. Gail asks, "My last JCPL bill has a $163 community solar subscription fee. What is that about?"
Yep. So with consolidated billing, we are able to put all the information directly on, is that you said JCP&L bill?
JCP&L, yes.
Right on your bill. So you'd be able to see a new community solar section on your bill. You would see the total credit that was allocated to your account. So that would be a larger negative on your bill. Then right underneath it, you'd see something called subscriber fee. That is a misnomer, and it's going to be changed in all utilities by the BPU and later on in the year. But basically, that's just the amount of the energy after the discount when you subtract both of them, since the credit is a larger, I'm not sure what discount you have. I'm assuming it's 21% if you're in JCP&L. So the larger credit is just 21% higher than your subscriber fee. When you do the difference, that's the total amount that you saved that month. And each month that subscriber fee is going to be different. It's going to be dependent on the total credit that you receive on your bill. But it'll always be 21% cheaper than the credit, or 21% less than what your credit was. Just subtract them and you'll see that's how much you saved that month. You would have paid that much more to JCP&L had you not been a part of the program.
Yes, I will say that I noticed that also. And also Tracy Woods from Sustainable Jersey in her webinar yesterday, I think it was, explained that. So it's legitimate. So
I know the
that's the
subscriber
way
fee
it works. You still got your 21%.
Yeah, in PSC&G, they make it a little bit easier if anyone is on PSC&G. It actually just shows you your community solar credit. So it just gives you that difference, and then it subtracts it on the total that you owe to PSC&G. So you know exactly how much you saved that month, versus in JCP&L, you have to do some subtraction in order to figure out how much you saved that month. But they are going to be changing it with the BPU to make it easily read.
Gail says, "Thanks, that had me worried." $163 is an amount that you would want to question.
Yeah,
No
well,
doubt
that
about
means,
that.
but that was a pretty large credit that we were able to give to your account. But yeah.
John Pitt, this will be the last question for Gina, and then we'll go on to the next speaker. John asks, "How does community solar compare to sourcing my electricity from a renewable energy supplier, a third-party one?"
That's a great question. It's very similar in the sense that it's clean energy as well, except your third-party energy supplier is typically out of state, and will charge you for their energy production. So you usually have a contract with them, potentially on an annual basis. There might be fees to cancel if you had to for whatever reason, but that kilowatt hour typically ends up being at a higher cost than what your utilities rate is. So it's very similar. You get the clean energy, but you get a guaranteed discount in the community solar program. But in a third party, you just have to pay a rate, whatever the rate is that they what you enrolled with.
Okay, thank you so much, Gina. That was excellent. And I'll hand it over to Steve to introduce our next speaker.
Well, it looks like all the questions, except for one more I have been answered, and I'll ask that, I guess, offline. And I thank you for all that information about community solar. I expect that we're going to find a bunch of people signing up tomorrow. Well, right away. You see, you have all to gain and nothing to lose.
Steve, we
So
do
now-
have 2 minutes, so if you have a 2-minute question.
Yeah, this may be a common question for the future. So as I gradually electrify my house, my electrical load increases. I have community solar now. How do I get more community solar to take that with that difference as I add electricity?
That's a great question. Actually, in New Jersey, I think it's set to increase 30% of energy usage is going to be increasing just because of the needs that we have. But if you notice that, like for instance, you get an electric car, you get a hot tub, and you notice that our credits aren't meeting a higher amount of your energy consumption, you can give us a call and we would be able to do a new historical usage to just reevaluate and allocate your account accordingly and provide you more credits.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you. Okay, so we have now 3 other speakers. We have 30 minutes to do this. Our speakers total 25 minutes. So I think the best thing is to hold your questions until we get to the end of this. But what you should do is jot them down into the chat, and we'll make sure that they get answered. So our first short talk is by Peggy. Peggy and I didn't previously know each other, but discovered that, in fact, we're leading parallel lives. We do. We're both strong climate activists. And that's interesting. So we've been discussing this off and on now for the last couple of months, I suppose. Peggy's now going to present her own case study of what she has done with her own house and show us the results. So Peggy, go ahead.
Okay, let's see if I can do this. Hold on. Not doing slideshow. Well, I'm supposed to be in a slideshow mode.
On the bottom right of the page, there's like a little presentation to the right.
Oh, I can't get it into slideshow mode.
You could do from beginning on the top left. You could do from beginning right there.
That's what I'm mistaking. Okay,
Good.
sorry. Okay, so I will try to be quick. This is just my experience of installing a heat pump and making my house energy efficient. I work with Unitarian Universalist Faith Action and the Environmental Justice Task Force, and we're advocates in New Jersey for clean energy in the legislature, working with Empower New Jersey, Jersey Renews, Sierra Club. I see people here from Sierra Club, WindWorks, and lots of others, but we're particularly focused now on the Climate Superfund Act, Clean Energy Standards Bill, and the Energy Master Plan. So I'm not an engineer, and I'm not very mechanically inclined, but I just want to share my experience from the point of view of someone who's been obsessed with energy efficiency for the past 40 years. And I'm just an ordinary homeowner. Please, I'm open to any suggestions. If I make mistakes or have misinformation on something, let me know. In 2016, I moved here from Massachusetts, and I had retrofitted an 1860s house up there and had a lot of great experiences. But when I got down here, I bought a very modest home, and it's 1,200 square feet, 1 story, built in the 1970s as an all-electric house. Had 2 bedroom, 2 baths, and an open floor plan. It had trees on the southeast side, which was not where I would have put them, and no attic insulation. It was heated with baseboard resistance heating and a huge room air conditioner. But I wanted my home to be energy efficient, not only because I wanted lower bills, but I really, as Steve had said, I'm an environmental activist and I wanted to be doing the best for the environment. So lo and behold, there was a ad in the paper for a energy efficiency consultants named Ray John Consulting. I live in Ocean County, by the way. And they were promoting New Jersey's clean energy program, Home Performance with Energy Star. Some of you may have heard of that back then, which included free whole home energy health and safety audit, an attic and air sealing and insulation, and savings on heat pumps. They sounded like they knew what they were talking about, so I signed up. And in the fall of 2018, they hired the contractors to start the work. They got the required permits. They handled everything. They coordinated all the paperwork, scheduled all the contractors, made sure the permits were in place, and the contractors put in air sealing, ventilation, a dryer vent, bath fan, lots of insulation in the attic. You can see on here the soffit baffles in the roof bays. The total thing was worth $3,100, and it was free through this New Jersey Home Performance Program. I don't think that exists anymore. But then on my own, I decided to install a Fujitsu, never can say that right, ductless heat pump in March of 2019, after I'd had the whole thing made energy efficient. And I, I'm sorry, I lost my place here. So that was based on the consultant's advice also. They decided the size, location, and I installed just one unit, which consists of both an inside and an outside unit. And I got a Fujitsu 15RLS3, and its SEER rating is 25.3. One unit for the entire house. The bedrooms are kind of cool, but I like it that way. So the result was, I love living with this mini split. It keeps the house warmer in the winter, cooler in the summer, and I have ceiling fans which help circulate the air. And it's really kept up with the cold weather. Hot weather doesn't seem to be an issue at all. And this year seemed particularly cold to me, but when I looked at the degree days, it's not as cold as I thought it was. I guess maybe it's just I'm getting older. But in putting this talk together, I came across from my electric bill from 2018 and 2019, which is before I had all this work done and before I put the mini split in. And I was shocked. My winter usage, and I always like to compare kilowatt hours. My winter usage back then, the highest month was 2,200 kilowatt hours. Now my highest month is 800 kilowatt hours. So that still feels extravagant to me, but I'm just shocked at what the difference is. And as I said, more than just the cost, the house is more comfortable, it's less drafty, and I know I'm having a positive impact on the environment. But there are a few things I just wanted to tell people, because most of the people here know all about mini splits and heat pumps and how great they are. But there were a few things that I really learned that I want to pass on to people just in case. So one is, first look in the, I have a few pictures that I want to talk about. One is starting on the left, the upper one, is those, like what I call them fins, it's called the horizontal airflow direction louver. And then the cover on the top picture, it's opened up on the lower left hand, that's called the intake grill. And then when you open the intake grill, you can see that there's these, there's something inside there, and I'm taking out one of the air filters. There's two air filters, and the lower left-hand corner is what they look like once you take them out. So I was told by my consultants that I should clean the filters regularly, every few months or so, and I did that. There's two of them, as you can see. They're easy to remove, and you can just wash them under the sink faucet, dry them off, and put them back in. They never seemed terribly dirty, but I thought I was conducting the appropriate maintenance that I had been told. And then one day last fall, and this is now 5.5 years later, it's been working well all this time, I started to see black soot on the airflow direction louvers. It looked like black soot. And I'm like, where did that come from? So I cleaned it off. And the next day I came back and there it is again, black soot, where I had kind of cleaned it off. Oh, one thing I also just want to point out, on this upper left-hand picture of the mini split, on the left-hand side, you can vaguely see a little green light. That green light just means it's on, but there are other lights there that mean something later on. So anyway, I saw that soot and it kept coming back. So I finally thought I better call somebody. And I did. I called and I looked for a maintenance company, which was not easy for me to do. I'm in Ocean County, and there just weren't very many people that were interested in working on mini splits. But I did find a company, AJ Perry in Freehold, and a young man came to look at it and he said, yeah, it needs to be cleaned. And I said, but I have been cleaning it. I've been cleaning it for all the time, every couple of months. And he said, well, yeah, but no, the whole machine needs to be cleaned, not just, that's okay to clean those air filters, but that's not going to really do it. You really need to get the whole thing cleaned. It's quite a process. He had to get special tools and a special cleaning kit, which he had to order. And he came back a few days later, and it took him over an hour to go through the whole thing and clean it with a watering hose and everything. And so that was my lesson. I realized I need to actually get it cleaned every couple of years, not just clean those filters. So then I actually signed a contract with them to do maintenance on a regular basis. This is the outside component. And this is the compressor. And a couple of months later, unfortunately, it was January. And the lights that I was showing you there on the upper, on the inside, they started to flash orange, and it was making some funny noises, and then it stopped working. And it was about 5 degrees out. And so I called the maintenance company. They came right away. It was a Sunday evening. They came at 9 o'clock in the evening. They looked at the whole thing and they said, you've got a broken fan outside. It's just, it's broken. So they had to replace that. It was 6 years old at the time. I asked if that seemed like an awfully short time lifespan. And he said, well, it seems a little short, but it's not unheard of. And the fact that these machines are going all year long, both summer and winter, means that they may not last as long. So that's my experience. I just wanted to share it. And for your information, just keep in mind this, if you have a mini split, your best friend is the operating manual and the remote. I use the remote just to turn it on and off and to change the temperature occasionally and go from heat to cooling, but there's lots of other things you can do with it too. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Any questions?
Thank you, Peggy. I got a kick out of that because my daughter has something just like this, and she's had it now for 2 years, and I actually commissioned it 2 years ago. And I said, maybe because of Peggy's experience, I said I better try to clean it. So I cleaned the filters, but not the whole thing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you got more than 50% reduction in your electric kilowatt hours. That is great.
Keep in mind, that's not just the mini split, because they did all the weatherization too.
Right.
And since then, I'm going back 6 years now, and I've also gotten a lot more energy efficient appliances, but it really makes a huge difference. So much so that, and the consultants have said this to me in the beginning, don't worry about if you're, have it on a little higher than, you don't have to worry about that. It just doesn't use any energy. So
I think we
Thank
said we were going to go do
Yeah,
the
go
last
ahead.
3 talks and then do the
Questions. So if you have more questions, just
Questions.
put them into chat and we'll get to them. I'd like to now introduce Betsy, who's a retired engineer, like several of us, I guess. She's a
Steve.
prolific writer.
Wait, Steve,
Yeah,
isn't it supposed to be me next?
not in my list.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Is that okay? Is there any problem?
Yeah, that's what I told Betsy, but that's okay. Go
Okay,
ahead.
Betsy, are you ready? So I wanted to introduce her. I think she's one of our most knowledgeable leaders, and she'll provide a short summary of who and what happened to create an alarming 20% increase in your and my electric bill coming June 1st. In fact, today's headline said Governor Murphy is pushing a federal investigation into what caused this year's $1.7 billion increase for New Jersey electric ratepayers. So, Betsy, tell us what happened.
Okay, it's a very timely topic. All right, hold on, let me just switch to here and make sure we are doing this. Okay. Yeah, it's a very timely topic in the news. This is just a very short talk. There will be some articles on the website, on the New Jersey Electrification Coaching Network Substack site in a couple of days. One is going to be pretty much a summary of this talk, and the other one has more details so that you can tell what's going on, and you can tell, you can figure out who's right and wrong in these arguments that you're hearing. But anyway, New Jersey Electrification Coaching Network is a group of volunteers. You see Pat, Steve, me, and about 15 other people. And we are clean energy advocates who help advise you for free on various electrification projects. So we felt obliged that we really had to make a statement about what's going on here, because we don't want it unfairly blamed on clean energy. Okay. Okay, hold on, it's not progressing. There we go. Okay. So this is the executive summary version. We're going to go pretty fast. You may never have heard of PJM, but it's the organization that oversees the utilities in 13 states: Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, hence the name, West Indiana, and South to Virginia. PJM sets the price for the energy that you use. That price is combined with some additional costs from your individual utility, and together that makes up your bill. So how are these prices set? PJM conducts various auctions where power generators each submit bids specifying the amount of energy they can supply and the price, and then PJM selects enough of these bidders to fill their entire energy forecast. But this time, some very different things happened on both the supply and demand side. You may have heard today, as Steve said, that Governor Murphy suggested that this auction should be investigated by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC. And there's also been a lawsuit by multiple states, including New Jersey. So on the demand side, PJM forecast for some very large new users: data centers, AI, new manufacturing. Some of the questions are these new demands real? Are they duplicated due to shopping for other sites? Should those large users pay a deposit before PJM decides to just go ahead and build the energy capacity? Should large users pay the full cost themselves rather than having the customers do so? So some say that the new electrification, like heat pumps, are causing the new demand increase. And that's not true. EVs make up less than 1% of energy demand, heat pumps even less. And in fact, heat pumps and solar energy help decrease the summer peak usage of energy, which is one of the things that determines the highest price. And that energy usage, just for a round number, is about 145 gigawatts for New Jersey. But there were also some big problems on the supply side. So new suppliers have to be approved by PJM, and they have a huge backlog of energy suppliers that are still waiting for permission to connect, some of them for multiple years. And there have also been suppliers that have been approved that haven't been built or connected, about 50 gigawatts worth of supply there. And there are some complex PJM rule changes that understated the supply of energy that was available. And this is one of the things that Murphy has proposed to investigate. So PJM had issues in managing both the supply and forecasting the demand. So the auction wound up with a 10-fold price increase, which translates to about a 20% increase on your bill. Okay, hold on, let me go to the next slide. So the question is, wait a minute. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble getting it to go ahead from the. All right, I'm sorry, it's decided to stop progressing. Let's try this again. All righty. I'm sorry, let me just stop it and from the current slide. All right. Sorry, there we go. Okay, the question is, what can be done? Well, there's a lot that can be done by legislators and regulators to correct some of these problems, but you can't wait for that. What can you do right now? And the coaching network can help you with these. So the first thing is to stop throwing away energy. Get an energy audit and weatherize your home, much as Peggy did. You could see how much that was one of the things that helped her a lot. And there are rebates to help with that. The other thing you can do is you can sign up for demand response programs that are available through your utility. And what that does is allows the utility, with your permission, to turn your thermostat up or down a little bit when peak energy usage is threatening to create problems on the electric grid. And that makes you qualify for reduced prices for all of your electricity. You can also buy lower cost and clean energy. And I was going to have to explain community solar, but I don't have to now. So let me just skip through that part of it. Something harder to do than community solar, but still very worthwhile, is installing your own rooftop solar. I have done that. There's usually about a 7-year return on investment. I haven't paid for electricity in 3 years, except for January of 2024, which was a very cloudy month. So if you have a home that will permit you to have good solar energy, that would be a worthwhile thing. The other thing that was mentioned is you could buy from an independent supplier instead of your utility, but you do have to be careful to read the fine print, since this is a long-term variable rate and it can also result in a higher bill. And I think there was a question answered about that previously. So that was the executive summary version of the price increases. Clean energy is not the problem. Better management of supply and demand is needed. So look for the more expanded version of this talk and the 2 articles that will soon be on our Substack site. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. Even with the glitch, I launched your slide deck here in case you couldn't get the final slide.
Right.
So, we've been pushing to and enticing you to present the full story a month from now. We'll probably know a lot more by then. So I hope that you can appear in our webinar then. Our final speaker is Pat Miller, my wife, whom I could brag about forever. She's going to describe the New Jersey Electrification Coaches Organization, which our team created last year to plug a huge information gap. So Pat, go ahead. You're muted.
I'm also trying to get it into full screen mode, and it's not going there. There it is. Okay. As most of you know, I am Pat Miller. I want to bring you up to date on the status of the New Jersey Electrification Coaching Network and ask for your help to promote and expand the coaching network and building electrification in general. As you know, we are at a crisis point, not only the ongoing climate crisis that threatens our children's future, but the onslaught from the federal government that wants to set back or eliminate the progress we've already made. So I'm asking for your help to spread the cause of building electrification and our coaching network. Members of the New Jersey Electrification Coaching Network became electrification coaches through training from Rewiring America or through their ongoing professional work. We formed this network last fall, and we'd like to add to our roster of coaches as well as offer our free services to those of you who would like to electrify your own homes. The purpose of the ECN, as we call it, is to guide homeowners or renters in New Jersey on how to electrify their homes or even their small businesses. The guidance is free. We're all volunteers. And as you know, the aim of building electrification is to save money, reduce emissions, and protect our health and the environment. When we refer to building electrification, it encompasses space conditioning and appliances throughout the whole home or other building, eventually resulting in complete electrification of everything in the building, including the vehicles, with 100% clean electricity and the elimination of all sources of polluting emissions. This is a graphic of an electrification plan created by NRDC, the Natural Resources Defense Council, that lays out all the areas we'll consider in electrifying our building. Number one is the solar. As it's shown here, it's rooftop solar. This is your best choice if you have a suitable roof. The payback period, as Betsy said, for buying your own rooftop solar is 5 to 7 years, and it's basically free after that. If not, if you can't do that in your home, you really should subscribe to community solar. Solar is the key to both producing more clean energy in New Jersey and saving money on electricity. The savings for either rooftop or community solar are so great that if you don't have solar now, you're just wasting your energy dollars. Number two is weatherization of the home, insulation and air sealing all 6 surfaces of the cube. This is tied for highest priority with the solar. The cheapest energy is the energy you don't use. 3 is air sealing windows and doors. 4 is the EV and its charger. 5 is the heat pump water heater. 6 heat pump dryer. 7 induction stove. 8 smart thermostat. And 9 is the heat pump for space heating and cooling. The good news is that the technologies we use to electrify buildings are the ones we already have in hand. And using them, we could reduce emissions 50% in this decade. And they include all these pictures, wind and solar, batteries, land management, EVs and home improvements like heat pumps, weatherization, and LED lights. Why does this matter? Electrification isn't just good for the planet and our future. It's good for your wallet and your health, here and now, if you do it right. That's where the New Jersey Electrification Coaching Network comes in. We're all volunteers with the mission of electrifying buildings with clean electricity to reduce greenhouse gas emissions for cost savings, health, and staving off the worst effects of climate change. A coach will help you plan your electrification projects and select heating and cooling equipment for your space or other electric heat pump appliances, as well as your choice of solar. Also, we can provide in-person or web-based presentations on building electrification and related topics. We have an online database with recordings of all our monthly building electrification webinars since 2021, plus a multitude of other references. And we maintain the New Jersey Electrification Coaching Network Substack that Betsy spoke of, where we write and distribute articles on BE topics. What we hope you do is to start planning your own home electrification before an emergency happens. Figure out what sort of replacement you will want now and either install it before the old one breaks, and this applies to all your appliances, or when you have an appliance failure, quickly obtain updated information on the most up-to-date and economical model that you can find, and then replace the old broken one with that. You can do that with a coach or with the help of our references, or go to the Rewiring America site and use their personal electrification planner. To head off the coming electricity price increase that Betsy talked about, start shopping for solar now, rooftop or community. And we would love to have more people take the Rewiring America coach training and join our network. It's only a 4-week course with 2 hours online on your own schedule and a small amount of homework a week. It's worth taking the course even just to understand the material for your own use in your own home. And here are the links to the references I mentioned. The first one is the form to request a coach, and the QR code is to that same intake form. And I'll put all of these in the chat. So maybe Steve could look at the questions if there are any while I do that. I'll leave this
Sure.
up for a minute.
So I have 2 or 3, I guess. The very last question was from Howard Stein. In a house with a furnace, the air filter is before the furnace, so it keeps the furnace clean as well. Cleaning the air as cleaning the air we breathe. In a mini split, the air is cleaned after the unit, so it doesn't stay clean. That's an explanation of what Peggy had observed. So you need to keep the inside unit clean. Pat put the links that she showed here. So be sure to go to
I'm
those.
still going.
Still going, still putting them in. Okay.
I have 4 links.
Okay. Gina was Viasis has given us a reminder. If you want priority service to get signed up for community solar, go to hersolarlandscape.com and then use that invite code SLNJSC. So that's the enroll website that somebody asked for. So Denise asked, is a smart thermostat more than just a programmable thermostat? So does anybody know what is a smart thermostat?
So I think the difference may be, and I'm not sure this is always true, but some of the utilities are pushing smart thermostats because this is the demand response program, which allows them to control your thermostat a little bit. So sometimes they also use the word smart thermostat, because I used to work for a home automation company, to mean that it learned your patterns and then would just follow your patterns. If you always turned the thermostat down at night, it would learn to turn the thermostat down at night. So I'm not sure which of those 2 things it refers to, but some of it is learning your patterns and just keep applying them, and the other one is doing something that the utilities can help you coordinate.
Howard has an answer.
Okay.
I think Betsy got the basic concept. A smart thermostat is one that, by your behavior during the first weeks that you own it, you're programming it, as opposed to mine, where I tell it what I want to do, and it runs pretty much by itself. When I go away on vacation, there are thermostats that you can set up from your cell phone through a Wi-Fi that enable you to go one step further, which is, while you're away, you call home and set it up to for how long its setback is for your vacation time. I know when my thermostat is smart enough that I can program when I'm going and when I'm returning, so it sets back before I leave, and I can do this weeks ahead of time. And then when I walk back in the house, it's at the appropriate temperature. So this term smart isn't well defined for a thermostat.
But
I have some experience as
everything
well.
you said, also indicates that it has to be connected to the internet. So I think
Yeah, I think
that's the
that's
main
probably
thing.
the case. Yeah. I mean, I had in my previous house, I had a programmable thermostat, which was great. And this, I just moved last year and I haven't got a programmable one yet. So I was thinking, well, should I just get a regular programmable one or should I, go to smart? But I'm not really into the smart home stuff myself. I don't want to be that connected to the internet all of the time, So it sounds like I'd be just as well off to just do the programmable one.
I
A lot of
had a
times,
smart,
a lot of times when you have an audit done by the utility, you will get a Nest thermostat, a smart thermostat, free and they will install it also. I don't know if that's always in effect, but I've heard of that several times at different
well,
times.
it happened to us, in fact. We had a new Nest learning thermostat a few years ago. And then we changed that. We installed a heat pump instead of our air conditioning. And that Nest learning thermostat was able to be used with a heat pump without changing the thermostat.
The catch with the smart thermostat is if during its learning period you do something unusual, you have guests in who don't leave after dinner until very, very late, it may just start to think that's normal. And there's nothing like a smart machine that's too good for its own smarts. And I would, if you can learn how to program 16 steps, it's just as good a way to go.
I think we've answered all the questions.
Another
Gina?
one just came in.
Okay.
And I know I see now that Ted actually answered my answer, which was about the internet connection. But Edward says my utility is PSE&G. They have, whoops, it just disappeared.
They have a
They have my
mon-
meter site that displays electricity use so an interested homeowner can review their energy use by the hour. Do other utilities provide this? This is on the meter. We just got new meters, but we don't know if they do anything yet. We haven't been told by JCP&L that there are any benefits for us.
Well,
I do glance at the meter, and it looks like the old meter to me, but it really is an electronic meter that is reporting back to JCP&L, but we have not seen any report.
But I think these are the first steps that are happening towards time of use rates that may come along, and also to demand response. Time of use is where utilities and other places, and I don't think yet here in New Jersey, will charge you different rates depending on when your usage is. So you get charged less at night when fewer people are using the energy, and more during the day when most people are. So, but in order to implement that, you have to know when that's happened and how much you're using. So I think that you're seeing the first steps towards making those programs available.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
that's
that's what it is. I have a smart meter with Atlantic City Electric. I did have one other question I think got overlooked in the chat here. I asked about the HVAC systems because that was a really good presentation about the mini split system, which I've heard of and is probably going to be the kind that I would get because I'm in a condo. But I'm just curious if there's other options besides mini split systems that are still heat pump.
I can answer that. And the answer is yeah, sure. You can physically remove your furnace, or actually leave it and replace the coil which is used for air conditioning, with a different coil, and put in a heat pump, reversible outside. People get scared with the word heat pump. It's basically a refrigerator that's reversible. It's that simple.
Yeah, and we have the difference is the mini split is ductless and usually, and the other kind is ducted, so it replaces a furnace. We have a system that the outside unit, there's an inside unit, which is the air handler, and there's the outside unit. And our outside unit looks exactly like the ducted air conditioner that is sitting right beside it. So it's a big monster, but it's outside. It's mostly outside.
By the way, heat pump technology, where you're pumping heat in and or out, was used in large scale photo labs for many years to control the temperature of the chemicals, plus or minus a degree or less, and it just reversed itself from heating to cooling many times an hour.
Yeah. So
I wanted to make
there are two comments in the chat. Ted and Kathy both said they just signed up for community solar
super.
just now.
The rush has begun. That's great, and you won't miss out. I wanted to go through one final testimonial. I personally have been interacting with residents and some small business for, I don't know, the last year by providing information and coaching. And I have been very pleased. I find that I enjoy that. I enjoy working with all these people. It's roughly one a week. Most of them are just simple questions and here's an answer. You know, some are more complex. The coaching programs that we have is designed to be able to handle the heavier duty questions and help develop a plan. But I really do enjoy interacting with our customers, our clients, and it's fun. And so I encourage people to join us. We're looking for more coaches because we're covering all of New Jersey, and we encourage you to join us. Take the 1-month training with RewiringAmerica, and we'll accept you right in. And you'll have a lot of on-the-job training. We try to match you up with other people who are more experienced. So please join us. Those are, I think, the end of our questions and answers. We have gone a little bit over. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We will have something like this in 1 month, and maybe Betsy will come back and with more complete answer. I know she has a big slide deck. You saw 3 or 4 of her slides. So I hope you come back. So thank you for joining us. For all who registered, I'll be sending out the recording, the slides, the Q&A, and maybe some more answers depending on what we see in the chat as well. So I hope to see you May 15th.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good questions, good information, especially thank the speakers.